So let me tell you that I'm very happy to be here in Cape Town to present you some first results that we have on randomized experiment in France. But prior to that, I would like to say a few words about evaluation in France. So a few years ago, France had almost no evaluation culture. We have in France a French Association of Evaluation, but this association is not doing any impact evaluation, as it's absolutely not ready to discuss about the design of policies. There were also some attempts by researchers, including myself, to evaluate policies, but without randomized experiments. And so here also, academics may have some endless debates about validity. And such a type of endeavor, in the end, has, I think, a very low collective value, because I think what is needed is to be able to use methods that can provide evidence that are suitable to highlight the public debate. And this is what randomized control trials, but in France we have implemented no randomized control trials. So where are we now? Things changed a lot. Thanks to the fund, we started a lot of randomized evaluation during the 5 last years. So we have more than 30 randomized experiments. And the topics, as Martin has said previously, which are covered are very different. There are education programs, housing programs, health, mobility program, youth employment program also. And also thanks to the fund, these ideas of randomized control trials is now disseminating, and many institutions are now willing to evaluate their policies. And thanks to the fund, we are currently addressing a lot of practical issues concerning the design of policies, as well as the problems that young people and others are facing. So what I would like to do is to consider 3 experiments for which we already have results, because we started not so many years ago. So the first program is an education program in middle school, and the purpose is to change the behavior of the youth at school. So some of them may have a behavior which is not very favorable to education in general. And so there is also a youth employment program, and because we have lots of problems with the unemployment of the young people, and the purpose is to provide young people with job search assistance. And their program is a health program, and the purpose is about complementary health insurance for low-income people. So let's consider the education program. The education program. So one problem is in France is about the education of young teenagers in middle schools. There are lots of problems in deprived suburban middle school associated with absenteeism, bad behavior, discipline, and in the end, the young people have very poor attention, and it's difficult to improve their grades. So those middle schools are places where it is very difficult and can even be dangerous to teach, and the teachers are sometimes very reluctant to go and teach to those middle schools. The problems start very early, when the young people are age 11, and then they strongly increase afterward. And a few years later, the result is a very high dropout rate from those middle school. So what is the program we are considering? The basic idea of the program is that parents play a key role, but they do not know anything about school. School is a world which is totally, they don't know at all, and they do not see it as valuable. So the idea of the program is very simple. It is just a set of 3 meetings for the parents of those students. And the purpose is to bring the parents within the school and to explain them how school works, how they can help their children, and also how to react to their children's results. So the purpose is simply, the hope is simply to increase school's value within household. And in the end, the hope is also to change the youth students' behavior. Okay, what is the nice thing with this program is that this problem is a real and important problem, and many people are discussing about how to solve this problem in France. But this solution, which is tested here, is very, very simple and is very far from the mainstream education policy. So let's consider now the youth employment program. So France, like many countries, have a very high unemployment rate of young people. And the common idea is that when you are educated, this helps a lot for this unemployment risk. But however, in France, there is also a population of young, educated people experiencing long-term unemployment. And if you want, so those young people are out of school, and so they are looking for a job, and counseling them is the job of the public employment service. But counseling them raises specific issue. It raises specific issue because those young people have quite no experience about the labor market, and they have a strongly biased perception of their labor market, the type of job they can have. So they need some special assistance, specific assistance in their search process. And also this is very time consuming for those young people to invest in an efficient search process. So it's the reason why very frequently those young people have a strong preference to take small jobs that provide cash in the short run. And so to some extent they are trapped in an endless succession of small jobs. The program we consider provides the young people with a reinforced counseling scheme. So usually in France, somebody which is unemployed is allocated to a caseworker, and the size of the portfolio of this caseworker is usually 120 unemployed. And so the idea is to allocate those young people to caseworker with a reduced portfolio of 30 unemployed. That's the first idea of the program. And the second idea of the program is that because those young people have specific needs, so it's maybe useful to use the services of private operators instead of the services that they would normally obtain, which is from the public employment service. Okay, so this program is very costly because both the portfolio size, because reducing the portfolio from 120 to 30 is a very strong investment, and also because of the private operators, which are expensive. And one issue about the program is that there is a contract between the private operator and the public employment service. And in this contract has a specific bonus if the young people get a job within 6 months, lasting at least 6 months. Okay. So let's consider now the health program. So as Martin has said previously, the French social security system is quite generous. However, the social security insurance does not cover all health expenses. There is always a share which is due to the person, and people have to buy a complementary insurance. However, this complementary insurance, the cost is around 700 euros, and so it is very expensive. And people with low income generally do not buy it. So this is a big problem because those people who have not this complementary insurance reduce their use of health services. And in France, because the system is quite generous, there is also a subsidy for low income people to buy the complementary insurance, and the subsidy is 200 euros. However, there are problems with this complementary insurance, because the demand for the complementary insurance is very low. Only 8% of eligible people buy it. And so the question is, why is this demand for the complementary insurance low? Among many possible reasons, there are possible reasons which are addressed by the experiment. The first one is that the subsidy maybe is not large enough. And the second one is that the system is generous, but it is also very complicated. So the experiment which has been undertaken proposes two different interventions. The first one is to increase the subsidy from 350 euro to 350 euros instead of 200 euros, which is an important increase. And then the second experiment is to do the same increase, but also to invite people to participate in a meeting in which they will get all the information about what is the complementary insurance and how to obtain the subsidy. Okay? So we implemented those randomized evaluation, and starting from zero, we have learned how to implement those experiments. It's not true that it has been always very easy to do that. There were specific issues that were sometimes strongly discussed with people on the job. For example, issues like randomization, or the fact that randomized experiments involve a lot of work in the field. However, in the end, what people agreed is that randomization is more a principle than a constraint, and that there are various possible mental design, various type of problem, and you always find a solution to implement the randomized experiment. And in most cases, we had some failure, but in most cases we succeeded in implementing the evaluation. So here you have just a few examples of the design that we implemented, and maybe the problem we may have had, but I'll skip that. And I would like to go to the result. So considering the education program, the program works incredibly well. So the first issue was, is it possible to increase the parents' involvement? So the parents' involvement within the school or at home for the student of their children, and also if they understand how school is functioning. So there was a survey in which a lot of questions were asked to the parents, and you see the result. This program was associated with a very strong increase in parents' involvement on all those three topics. And so the second question was, does the program increase also improve the youth behavior? So there were some records about the behavior of the young people in the school, and what we see that the absenteeism was strongly reduced. The sanction rate was also strongly reduced by the program. So the appreciation for good conduct was increased, and also the share of the young people getting honor. So that's the first two results. Then also one issue in this program is about youth performance. And what we find is that we don't find any improvement in the math score of the young people. However, in French, we observed a very strong increase in their grades. One other very interesting result of this program is that there are a lot of spillovers. So the people who are there is also a strong effect on households that refuse to attend the meeting. Prior to the implementation of the experiment, people were asked if they were interested or not by the meeting, and some parents were not interested by the meeting. Okay, and but however, after you can see if there is an effect on those parents and on the children. So what you find is that the parents' involvement, there is no effect on the parents' involvement. It's not a surprise. However, if you consider the youth behavior, you see that there is a very strong increase in their behavior, and also for their performance, we obtain exactly the same result as for the young people whose parents accepted to participate in the program. So this program works incredibly well, and I think that this is an example of a program for which it is very important to implement RCT, because it is a non-mainstream program, and there is a lot of evidence is needed to cope with a priori for this type of program. So let's consider now the youth employment program. So what we obtain is that there is a huge effect on jobs obtained if we consider specific type of jobs. That is, if we consider the fact that young people obtain a job within 6 months and job lasting at least 6 months. And our design was also chosen so as to measure displacement effect. Displacement effect is a strong criticism which is frequently done to this type of program, because the idea is that when you are counseling the young people, maybe they will get a job, but this job, there is a finite number of jobs available, and if you help somebody to get a job, it's at the expense of somebody else who have been harmed. Okay, so that's a very common criticism against this program, this type of program. And the design we have implemented was specifically conceived so as to be able to measure those displacement effects. And the result we have is that there is displacement effect. Okay, so but another result, and it's interesting because we see that the dogs are not always where we are expecting them. The key issue appears to be the contract between the public employment service and the private operator. Because what we have obtained, what we have seen is that the performance of the operator exactly fits the requirement in his contract. There is a bonus which is associated with the contract, and if employment is found within 6 months, lasting at least 6 months, and what we obtain is that there is a huge effect, but only for this type of contract. If we consider other type of contract, very long term, or contracts which are obtained later, for example, 1 or 2 years after the program started, we don't find any effect. So this program is a success if we consider some type of output measure, but it's not clear that in the end it's very helpful for this. It reaches its objectives. So let's consider now the results for the health program. So the result that we have is that the subsidy works, but the subsidy has a moderate effect. The share of subscription of the complementary insurance increases from 8 to 10%. That's the first result. And the second question which was raised by this program is what is the effect of inviting people to an information meeting? And what we obtain is that this has a negative effect. So it's a very challenging result, but it is the result that we obtain. The people which are invited to participate in the meeting does not buy more complementary insurance. So there are many possible interpretations of this result, but we have to think about them and probably to find other ways to foster demand. As word of conclusion, so the results we have are already very interesting. Clearly, they have a strong potential to highlight the design of policies, and we will get in the close future a lot of other results in the next years. And the knowledge is accumulating. We have lots about how randomized control trials provide information that are complementary. For example, we have a lot of programs which concern the counseling of young people. There are also a lot of programs in health, and the knowledge we will obtain will be accumulated. So the fund initiated a movement toward RCT. This is very, very welcome. And now there are many institutions in France that want to do the same, and I think we will get in this way a lot of very interesting results for the design of our policies.